All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about my Green Bay Packers in tonight's video. We're finally back here in the winning column, 30-13 victory on the road against a playoff team in the Seattle Seahawks. Jordan Love looked great. He threw a couple of touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Josh Jacobs looked great. But most importantly, folks, this defense was absolutely cash money, baby. They were sacking, whether it was Geno Smith, Sam Howell, because Geno unfortunately ended up getting injured halfway through the game. They were all over whoever the quarterback was for Seattle. And like I said, I mean that in the sense of, depending on Geno's injury at the time of the recording, blah, blah, blah. Doesn't matter. The defense, the Packers defense was absolutely freaking money this evening, and the offense did exactly what they needed to do. But like we said at the beginning of this video, most importantly, the Green Bay Packers are back in the winning column. Very rarely do I hear something Chris Collinsworth says on the broadcast that actually makes sense. And he made this comment saying, Green Bay is going to be a team that flies under the radar because they're going to make the wild card, right? The Detroit Lions, even though they did ultimately lose to the Buffalo Bills this afternoon, they're still probably going to win the NFC North, or even if they don't, Minnesota most likely wins it, right? Green Bay's sitting here still very good at 10-4. In some way, somehow, they're third in their own division. But the point just was, you go back to the Packers' losses this season, 2 of them against the Detroit Lions, the best team in the NFL, or at least everybody agreed with that a day ago before they lost to Buffalo. Their other loss was to Philly in week 1 of the season in Brazil, and their other loss was to Minnesota. So folks, welcome back to the channel. We're obviously talking about the Green Bay Packers in tonight's video, but before we do, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. I'm a diehard cheesehead, so we post a ton of Packers videos on this channel. If you could try and get this one to 300 likes, folks, that would mean the absolute world to me. So the Green Bay Packers tonight had 369 yards of total offense. They only gave up 208 yards of offense to Seattle. They had 229 passing yards. They had 140 total rushing yards. They did have a turnover. We'll get to that in just a second. But for the most part, man, this was a really good football game. It just really was. There were 2 of 4 in the red zone. It wasn't perfect, but at no point in the entire game was I worried the Green Bay Packers were going to lose it. At literally 0 point. And I don't mean that to any shade or any disrespect to any Seahawks fans watching this video, because I do think their future is extremely bright. I think they're definitely in the right direction. But Green Bay got off to a really quick 14-0 lead. And after that, after the first quarter, it's literally 14-0 on the road in Seattle. I'd never really worried. I was never really concerned that Green Bay was going to lose this game or choke this game or anything like it. It was also 20-3 at halftime, so that certainly helps. But Jordan Love continues to not throw interceptions this evening. 20-27, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. He had a couple of really nice throws to Christian Watson. Christian Watson unfortunately got banged up right at the end of the football game, but he finished with 3 catches for 56 yards. We'll keep you guys updated on all these injury reports as the week progresses. It didn't look great. It didn't look horrible. I'm not a doctor, so don't really take my word for it, but unfortunately, Christian Watson did get banged up towards the end of the game. Josh Jacobs had a total of 94 yards on 26 total attempts and a touchdown in the running game. Then he also chipped in with 4 catches for 42 yards. Josh Jacobs is not only the Packers' best acquisition in free agency / the offseason this summer, but he might go down as a top 5 free agent move acquisition of the summer. He's been an absolute beast. Just feed him the ball, give him the football, and let him do his thing. The Packers, as a team, ran the ball 34 times for 140 yards and a touchdown from Josh Jacobs, but they averaged 4.1 yards per carry against a very good, stout Seattle Seahawks defense, especially their defensive line. Romeo Doubs also made his return from his concussion. He caught 3 catches on 5 targets for 40 yards, and most importantly, 2 huge touchdowns. His last touchdown, his second touchdown of the evening in the fourth quarter, it was a beautiful throw from Jordan Love. It was a beautiful catch from Romeo Doubs. And watching a play like that happen in live time especially just gets you excited about the Green Bay Packers' hopeful deep playoff run. Moving down the line, let's talk about the defense here because we were missing a couple of pieces, most notably Jaire Alexander, cornerback number 1. But Carrington Valentine, second-year guy out of Kentucky, had a phenomenal game, including a huge interception. And Edgerrin Cooper, the rookie out of Texas A&M, also had a beautiful interception. But as a team, the Green Bay Packers sacked Geno Smith / Sam Howell 7 total times. Kingsley Enagbare had a beautiful game. 5 total tackles, including 2 sacks. Edgerrin Cooper had 5 tackles, 1 sack, and an interception. Brenton Cox Jr., Florida Gator legend, also had a sack. Rashawn Gary had a sack. Carrington Valentine had that interception like we just mentioned. Carl Brooks had a sack. Devontae Wyatt had a sack. Like we said, folks, the Green Bay Packers in total had 2 total interceptions and 7 sacks. So much for concerns about the pass rush. Oh no, Preston Smith got traded. Now we have to look towards our new, younger development, our new young talent, and it's just paid dividends. Like, Preston Smith got traded at the NFL trade deadline, and when you look back at it in retrospect, it never really made sense that he was still a part of the Green Bay Packers because the new Green Bay Packers defensive coordinator and Jeff Hafley, they just didn't mesh. Preston Smith's game just did not fit the scheme of Jeff Hafley. And so they decided to trade him away for what felt like at the time a bag of chips. But dudes like Rashawn Gary, Brenton Cox, dudes are just stepping up big time, folks. I get it. It's hard to evaluate a game fully where the starting quarterback gets injured. Geno Smith, 15-19 for 149 yards. 0 touchdowns, but he did have 1 interception. Sam Howell was even worse. Sam Howell, when he was brought in for the injured Geno Smith in the second half, he got sacked 4 total times. He was 5 of 14 for 24 yards, including 0 touchdowns and an interception. Zach Charbonnet, because Ken Walker, the Seahawks leading running back, 1, did not play. He's injured. Charbonnet had 8 carries for 54 yards and a touchdown. But all in all, man, the defense just played a great brand of football. The offense did more than they needed to do to win it. And now the Green Bay Packers are literally 10-4 with only 3 games left on the season. We do have Quay Walker got banged up. I thought I just saw that he's done for the rest of the season, which would really suck. But unfortunately, Quay Walker did get injured. Next Monday night, the Green Bay Packers are taking on the New Orleans Saints. And then you have a matchup on the road against the Vikings and then a home game against the Chicago Bears. So sitting here at 10-4, the Green Bay Packers should easily make the playoffs. But folks, that's it for tonight's rapid reaction. Hit the like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. But most importantly, let me know your thoughts on the Green Bay Packers victory versus the Seattle Seahawks this evening down below. We'll see you soon. Peace.